guys, welcome to the Homestead. So today we're going to talk about this whole thing with Elon Musk and the $5,000 that he is proposing, or he didn't propose it, someone else proposed it, and he just kind of was like, oh yeah, it's a good idea, I'll ask President Trump about it. And the whole world has blown up talking about the $5,000 that could possibly be coming to each taxpayer as a form of recuperating some of the waste that we have thrown our tax dollars at over the years. And so let's break this down. This is a horrible, horrible, horrible idea. But let's talk about it. Here's the article, and let's talk about the beginning of this. So starting over at Forbes, it says, will you get a Musk DOGE dividend via a $5,000 stimulus check? It says in a recent social media exchange, Elon Musk, head of the Department of Government Efficiency, that's DOGE, hinted at the possibility of issuing a $5,000 check to American taxpayers, a concept dubbed the DOGE dividend. This proposal, originating from an investment firm, CEO and DOGE advisor James Fishback, suggests allocating 20% of DOGE's projected savings and distributing it to tax-paying households. Fishback introduced the DOGE dividend on X, proposing that a portion of DOGE's anticipated $2 trillion in savings. So DOGE is coming out and saying, hey, we're projecting that we're going to save $2 trillion by exposing fraud, wasteful spending, and all this garbage that's out there. And we're going to save $2 trillion. So we're going to take basically 20% of that savings of that $2 trillion and give that back to Americans. It says right here, according to Fishback's calculations, dedicating 20% of these savings would amount to $400 billion, translating to about $5,000 per household for the 78 million tax-paying households. Musk responded to this proposal by stating he would discuss it with President Trump. And I've seen estimates now up to $8,000 if we took 20% of the savings. So let's just, they save $2 trillion from fraud and other government wasteful spending, and they take that 20% and give it back to you. And I've heard it could be upwards of 8,000, depending. I don't know. But let's go back to the actual exchange that got this started. This was the actual post over at X. It says President Trump and Elon Musk should announce a DOGE dividend, a tax refund check sent to every taxpayer funded exclusively with a portion of the total savings delivered by DOGE. And he responded, I will check with the president. Now, this is an absolute horrible idea. I have long said on my channel that we are guaranteed hyperinflation in this country. The math has already been set. There's no way Trump can save us from this. He may prolong it, he may delay it, but it's a mathematical certainty. You're not going to, we're at $36 trillion in debt. People cannot comprehend how much that is. We're $100 trillion in debt when it comes to unfunded liabilities. We are so far in debt. There is no way mathematically possible that we're ever going to get out of it. The currency will collapse, and which is normal throughout history. And the reason I can say this with such certainty is because this has happened many, many, many times all throughout history, hundreds of times, probably thousands of times. You can go back to all the way to all the different Roman emperors that existed. They all got in trouble by spending too much money. The Roman Empire, the Persian Empire, the Greek Empire, all of them got into debt. And the way they got out of debt time and time again, and not to mention all the ones since then, leading up to today, they inflated their currency. So it's not like I'm trying to just, fearmonger here. I'm going by what has happened over and over again. And so that mathematics, that math is solid. We're done. How we get there and how quickly we get there is just a matter of watching the show. He's trying to stave this off. I believe Trump knows this is a certainty. And so they're aggressively trying to cut. Because what I've said on this channel, it is actually a possibility you could probably prolong this, or even probably maybe at some point avoid it. But you have to do two things. You have to stop spending money, and you have, which Congress will never do, because that's how they get votes. That's how the lobbyists control Congress. You have to stop spending money, and you have to stop printing money. Those two things have to happen, and you're never going to see those two things happen. I don't believe. It's never been seen throughout history, so why would we think it's going to start now? Politicians are always politicians. The number one job of a politician, you know it. Leave a comment below. What's the number one job of a politician? get reelected. How do politicians today get reelected? They spend lots of money they don't have for their constituents. Okay. And that's why, and you can go through and you can cut all this fraud, waste, and abuse, but you're still never going to get to that point where Congress and the spending bill stop spending money on promises that they have made. They will never, ever, ever do it. And then you have the Fed printing money, the Federal Reserve. If you got rid of the Federal Reserve tomorrow and you said, hey, listen, we are going to set a budget of $100 billion in this country, and that's it, and you can't add any more than that, then maybe it's not going to happen. So let's I hate to use this phrase, read the tea leaves here for a second. I got a couple notes here. Gold is at all-time highs. Again, this is going back through that trajectory that history has always shown us. When the gold is not hitting all-time highs, guys. The gold is not hitting all-time highs. Your dollar is hitting all-time lows in its buying power, in its purchasing power. Your dollar is hitting all-time lows. And that's the inflation. Inflation is not over. It's not been curbed. It's not been stopped. It may have been slowed down a little, but hyperinflation is a guarantee. England and Swiss gold imports. Everyone's talking about right now how England is trying to push as much gold out as it possibly can. And it's, being slow in its filling orders of all this gold that wants to be exported out of England and imported over into the United States. People aren't talking that Switzerland is doing the exact same thing. And Switzerland holds a lot of gold. They're exporting a lot of their gold to the United States. Why is that happening? Trump's tariffs. Trump's tariffs put the world on notice that, hey, listen, we're going to be moving some money around and you better have your gold over here if you want to still participate in that economy. And that's exactly what happened. Did he do that on purpose because he knows we're at an economic end game and he knew that would bring the gold home? Whoever holds the gold makes the rules. You've probably heard that phrase. Whoever holds the gold makes the rules. And so he's not dumb. This is the guy who wrote The Art of the Deal. He's like, okay, we're going to bring the gold home. How do we do that? We're going to threaten tariffs on everybody. And for them to continue to pay to play, they're going to have the gold here in order to move that between different banks, the physical gold. And that's exactly what's happening. England is exporting gold they probably don't have, so they're trying to scrounge around and find. And they're bringing it all home. And Switzerland is doing the exact same thing. That's indicator number 3. Indicator number 4, England has now come out and says they're going to deploy possibly 100,000 troops to Ukraine. They don't have 100,000 troops, guys. And so what they've said is that we're going to have a draft. We're going to have a draft, and we're going to force, because the United States is being so cowardly and stingy with its funding and with its troops. We'll dedicate our troops, but because they're stingy, we're going to have to go ahead and instate a draft to make those English boys go over and get in those Ukraine trenches. 100,000 troops? They don't have 100,000 troops. The English military is a fraction of what it was 100 years ago. It's a tiny fraction. To make this point, this is indicator number 5, Mark Felton, one of my favorite historians on YouTube, just did a video the other day talking about how England has, I can't believe I'm going to say this. England has more horses in its military than tanks. Yes, you heard that right. England and its military has more horses, like, giddy up, riding horses, and they're all for ceremonial purposes. They have more horses than they have main battle tanks. That's absolutely insane. England is not ready for this. England has destroyed itself. How empires rise and fall. And that should also be a clue to you. We are an empire. We have been an empire, a magnificent empire. And for the most part, we've done a lot of good in this world. But we are falling. We are falling because we have mismanaged so many things so badly that there's no way you can keep, and we're trying to save it. We're trying so desperately to save it right now. And I don't believe we're going to be able to do it. So what does that mean for you guys as a homesteader? Number one, if they do send out these $5,000 checks, you had better not spend it unless you're spending it on things that are going to be tangible for your homestead. Beans, bullets, Band-Aids. Build a better $5,000 will build you a pretty nice chicken coop. So build yourself some sort of production. I have said a long time on my channel, if you want to survive what's coming, learn to be a producer. You must learn to be a producer. So use that money, if it does go out, to go ahead and put it into your homestead and to build production. Something that you can use to sustain yourself and your family. Put it in fencing so that you can keep a milk cow. Put it into a shed barn, where you can keep some livestock. Put it into something like that that's going to allow you to be able to produce food. Put it into your garden. Put it into manure and buying soil to get your garden ready. New fencing for your garden. Something. Put it into some kind of tractor implement that will help you be a better producer on your homestead. That's the wise way to spend this money. And you should have been doing that back when they were sending all these stimulus checks out over the last few years when the whole cough, pokey poke thing was going on. But if you didn't do that, if they do this, that's how you spend your money. The next thing you need to remember is that they shouldn't be sending these checks out anyway. If they do, it's because they're desperate for votes and they're trying to win over the population, but it's going to cause even more massive hyperinflation than what it already did. You saw all the stimulus checks they sent out before. If they send them out again, inflation through the roof. Keep that in mind. So you as a homesteader right now, you need to be preparing, getting ready for this. This is an inevitability of where we're heading economically. And the whole world looks like it's on the brink of war. Not to mention, you got the whole China thing going on, and Chinese Navy. In fact, the Chinese Navy is now pushing out even farther than it's at. There was an article, I forgot what it was. I can't remember it right now, but there was an article that came out just the other day talking about how the Chinese Navy is pushing out farther and farther and being more and more aggressive outside now the South China Sea, but in other places in the Pacific. So that's where we're headed. I have no doubts about that. But those are your indicators. The gold mining stocks, the all-time highs with gold means an all-time dollar low. And you've got the England and Swiss gold imports, and you got England to deploy 100,000 troops they do not have. They do not have trained. And then the fact that they have more horses than battle tanks. England's in big trouble. What do you think? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts on the $5,000. What are you going to spend it on? Chickens? Cattle? Livestock? Beans, bullets, Band-Aids? Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. It may be your great idea that someone else says, hey, that might be something I should do. Leave a comment below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, be sure to check out my events page over at AnAmericanHomestead.com. I will be speaking at the OZARK, the Okie Homesteading Expo in Oklahoma. So if you're in Tulsa, if you're in Oklahoma, Oklahoma City, come out and see me. There's going to be a great bunch of speakers out there. I'm really excited to do that. And then over at Patreon today, you patrons, we're going to be talking about some of my cured meats that I've been doing. Check that out. That's awesome. I got a lot of cured meats and I got a lot more coming. And so I can't wait to share that with you patrons over at patreon.com. If you're not a patron, you can come over to patreon.com/AnAmericanHomestead. Link is in the description below. And you can join all and get all that great information too, as well as the whole tincture books that I give away. If you bought these on Amazon, you would be paying hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for these things. They're out of copyright, out of print, and I give a downloadable PDF version to each one of my patrons who join. So I hope you'll check that out too. If you want to find it, all you got to do is join for as little as $1 a month, and you can find that download link right up there at the top of the Patreon. Once you log in, the collections tab, and you can go to that collections tab and you can download that PDF that if you bought those physical books, they would hundreds, if not thousands of dollars that they're going for on Amazon because they're so valuable and so rare, and the information contained within is so valuable. All right. Let me know what you think. Leave a comment below. Share this on social media. Hit that like button before you go. That really means a lot. And I'll see you next time on the Homestead. Bye. One of the best perks about living off-grid is that I never pay an electric bill. I love being my own power company, but that means when things go wrong, I have to be the one on call. So I try and use reliable components for my power production. For the last couple of years, I have been promoting OUPES solar generators. I've been using them and abusing them, and as it turns out, they are pretty good products. They have power generators for all occasions, and they can be charged by permanent or portable solar panels as well as AC power. They offer true lithium iron phosphate batteries, and this is important. Recently, a family in my area had a different brand that uses the less stable nickel manganese cobalt or NMC type batteries. The unit caught fire in the middle of the night. It was a scary situation and it caused damage to the home, but thankfully nobody was hurt. The generator, as you can see, was a total loss. This drives home the point on why it's so important to employ solar generators like the OUPES brand that uses the much more safe and stable technology of lithium iron phosphate, otherwise called LiFePO4. They offer small generators for travel or for powering an entire home and everything in between. These are great backups to have in a medical emergency or to power a freezer full of your favorite meat products, or as I have shown in past videos, for even backup AC and DC power sources for ham radio communications. If the grid goes down, you're going to be thankful you have one of these units. You can find the link in the description of this video or click on the banner ad found on the front page of our website at AmericanHomestead.com. Right here, that banner ad right there on AmericanHomestead.com. Hey guys, did you know you can become a patron of an American Homestead? They get access to private videos, and we send them gifts from the homestead that we make here on the homestead. And we also enter our patrons into special giveaways that are only available to them. And before you go, please check out these other great videos. Go ahead, click. I'll wait.